Jesse and Anita arrived at Sophia's house in a taxi just as the sun climbed higher into the sky. The air was cool, but they stepped out of the vehicle and hurried up to the door. Jesse knocked and Selena opened it, her expression cautious but calm. "Good morning, ma," Jesse greeted politely. "Good morning," Selena replied, glancing at Anita. "Sophia is upstairs in her room. Please, go on up." They thanked her and made their way to Sophia's room, where they found her still in her pajamas, pacing anxiously. Her face lit up with a mix of relief and worry when she saw them. "What's going on, Sophia?" Anita asked, frowning as she scanned Sophia's disheveled appearance. "Why aren't you dressed for the excursion?" Jesse, leaning against the door frame, crossed his arms. "Yeah, what's with all the drama? We are worried." Sophia motioned for them to sit on her bed. "It's a long story, but you both need to hear this," she said, her voice trembling slightly. Once they were seated, Sophia began narrating everything she had seen in her dream. She described the broken down bus, the men in masks, the terrifying events that led to Jesse and Anita's death, and her own overwhelming grief. "It felt so real," she said, her voice cracking. "The fear, the pain, everything. It wasn't just a dream. It was a warning. We can't go on that excursion. It's a trap." Anita frowned, her skepticism evident. "Sophia, it was just a dream. Dreams aren't real." "But this one felt different," Sophia insisted, her eyes pleading. "I can't explain it, but I know something bad will happen if we go. We have to stop it." Jesse, though more cautious, nodded slowly. "Okay, let's say it's true. What do you want us to do?" "We need to expose Mr. Femi and Miss Chika," Sophia said. "They are part of it. They are planning something terrible, and we need to stop it before it's too late." Anita sighed, shaking her head. "Sophia, I don't know. Dreams aren't exactly solid proof. But if you are this serious about it, I guess we will help." Jesse gave Sophia a reassuring smile. "We are in this together, Sophia. We'll find out the truth." Sophia pulled out her phone and began scrolling through the class group chat. After a few moments, she found Emmanuel's number and sent him a direct message. "Hey Emmanuel, can we meet? It's urgent." Emmanuel replied almost immediately. "Meet? For what? Aren't you supposed to be at school? The bus is here already." Sophia's heart skipped a beat. "The bus is already there?" she muttered, her fingers flying over the keyboard. "Listen to me. Don't get on that bus. Don't let anyone else get on either. It's a trap." Emmanuel's reply was quick and dismissive. "Sophia, are you okay? What are you talking about? This is our last excursion in high school, and you are saying rubbish." Sophia bit her lip, frustrated. "It's not rubbish. I saw you die, Emmanuel. Please, trust me on this. Warn the others and tell them not to go. Let them go home." Emmanuel responded with a laughing emoji. "You have officially lost it. Dreams are just dreams, Sophia. Stop worrying and get to school before the bus leaves without you." Sophia groaned in frustration and turned to Anita. Ah, he's not listening to me. He thinks it's all a joke. Maybe you can convince him. Anita hesitated. Why would he listen to me if he's not listening to you? Because you are Anita, Sophia said firmly. You are confident and he respects you. Please try. Anita sighed, crossing her arms. I don't know, Sophia. I mean, this is starting to sound crazy. And honestly, what if you are wrong? What if it's just a dream? Sophia's eyes filled with desperation. If I'm wrong, fine. But what if I'm right? Would you risk it? Jesse put a hand on Anita's shoulder. Come on, Annie. Let's at least try. If Sophia feels this strongly, it's worth looking into. After a moment of silence, Anita relented. Fine. I'll talk to him, but only if we all go to the school together. I want to see what's actually happening. Sophia hesitated but eventually nodded. Okay, but we'll stay far from the boys. I don't want to take any chances. The three friends quickly got ready, their plan set. Sophia's heart raced as she prayed silently, hoping they could stop whatever terrible event was looming. As they left the house, one question lingered in their minds. What if they were already too late? As soon as they arrived at school, Sophia, Anita and Jesse stood by the edge of the canteen, staying out of sight of the boss and Miss Chika. Anita quickly pulled out her phone and texted Emmanuel, who was already seated inside the bus. Hi Emmanuel, it's me, Anita. I wanted to say yes to be your queen at prom. She paused, feeling a twinge of guilt for using this approach, but knowing it was the only way to draw him out. Anita continued typing, but before I say anything more, I really need your help. Come to the school canteen, it's important. Emmanuel, who had been staring out the window, immediately perked up when he saw the message. His lips curled into a wide smile as he read her text. Without thinking twice, he stood up. Where are you going? Miss Chika asked sharply as he started to climb off the bus. I need to use the restroom, ma. Emmanuel replied casually, his voice steady. Miss Chika glanced at him, her eyes narrowing slightly. Be quick about it. We are leaving soon. Yes, ma, he said, hurrying away. Emmanuel jogged to the canteen, his excitement barely contained. He pushed open the door and saw Anita standing with Sophia and Jesse. His smile faltered slightly as he noticed the serious expression on their faces. What's going on? He asked, his tone curious but cautious. Why aren't you three on the bus? And what's all this about needing my help? Sophia opened her mouth to speak, but Anita held up a hand, cutting her off. Emma, please listen to me, Anita said, her tone soft but firm. We need your help. It's really important. Emmanuel frowned. Help with what? You are all acting strange. The bus is about to leave, and you are talking about helping. Sophia stepped forward, desperation in her eyes. It's not safe, Emmanuel. You have to trust me. That bus isn't going to the museum. It's a trap. Emmanuel stared at her, then burst out laughing. A trap? Seriously? All this because of some dream you had? Don't laugh, Anita interjected sharply. Sophia's dreams aren't just dreams. What she saw might actually happen, and if it does, people could die. Anita, Emmanuel said, shaking his head. I can't miss this trip. It's our last excursion, and you are asking me to sit it out because of a dream. No way. Anita sighed and took a step closer to him. I know this sounds crazy, but I'm asking you to trust me. If you don't believe Sophia, believe me. Emmanuel crossed his arms, his expression skeptical. Why should I? This is ridiculous. Anita hesitated for a moment before meeting his eyes. Because I wouldn't be asking if it wasn't important. Emmanuel, I promise you, if you help us stop this trip and figure out the truth, I will give us a chance. Emmanuel's expression softened, his resolve wavering. He had admired Anita for a long time, and though he still found their story unbelievable, her words struck a chord with him. Fine, he said after a long pause. I will stay. What do you want me to do? Relief washed over the group as Emmanuel agreed to help. Thank you, Sophia said sincerely, though her mind was already racing to figure out the next step. Now what? Emmanuel asked, his tone still skeptical. We need to find a way to stop the rest of the students from going, JC said. But we have to act fast. If the bus leaves, it's over. They will never believe us if we just tell them not to go, Emmanuel pointed out. They will think we are crazy. Then we need proof, Sophia said firmly. We need something solid to make them stay. Anita nodded. If we can expose Mr. Femi and Miss Chika somehow, maybe we can convince everyone. Sophia turned to Jessie. You are good with gadgets. Do you think you can record them saying something suspicious? Jessie thought for a moment. If I can get close enough to them, maybe, but would have to distract them first. The group huddled closer, brainstorming their plan as time ticked away. They didn't have long, but they were determined to stop the excursion and save their classmates before it was too late. The group huddled in the canteen, frantically trying to figure out their next move. Time was slipping away, and they knew they had to act fast if they wanted to stop the bus from leaving. Emmanuel, ever resourceful, leaned forward. I've got an idea, he said. I will find a way to bust the bus tires. That will buy us some time. Anita nodded, her expression serious. And I will record their conversations. If we can get proof of what they are planning, we can show it to the other students or even the authorities. Sophia and I will stay on alert, JC added. We will keep watch and make sure no one gets suspicious. With the plan set, Emmanuel stood up. All right, let's do this. Emmanuel waited until the teachers were distracted. Mr. Femi was pacing near the bus while Miss Chika stood by the door, glancing around impatiently. The noise of the students chatting loudly made it easier for them to slip away unnoticed. Carefully, Emmanuel made his way to the back of the bus. His heart raced as he crouched near the tires. Pulling a sharp pin he had found earlier, he jabbed it into the rubber, releasing a soft hiss of air. He quickly repeated the process on another tire, glancing around nervously to ensure no one saw him. When the job was done, he slipped back into the shadows and returned to the canteen. The group looked at him expectantly as he walked in. It's done, Emmanuel whispered, a proud smile on his face. The tires are flat. They won't be going anywhere anytime soon. Sophia let out a sigh of relief, but Anita's focus shifted immediately to her own part of the plan. Anita straightened her school uniform, took a deep breath, and walked confidently towards the bus. She greeted the teachers with a polite smile. Good morning, ma, she said to Miss Chika. I'm sorry I'm late. Miss Chika's tense expression softened slightly and she smiled back. Oh, Anita, why are you just getting here? And where are your friends? They'll be here soon, ma, Anita replied, keeping her tone light and apologetic. I'm so sorry for the delay. All right, Miss Chika said with a nod. Just hurry up and take a seat. Anita climbed into the bus, making her way to the front row. From there, she could hear everything the teachers were saying. She softly pressed the record button on her phone, hiding it in her bag. As Anita sat quietly, pretending to scroll through her phone, the teacher's hushed conversation caught her attention. They aren't all here yet, Mr. Femi asked, his voice low but irritated. Miss Chika sighed. Emmanuel hasn't come back from the restroom. And don't forget, the men are expecting all 30 students. Jesse and Sophia haven't even shown up yet. Mr. Femi frowned. We can't waste too much time. Let's wait 10 more minutes. If they don't show, we will leave without them. The men will just have to understand. Anita's heart skipped a beat. Her hands clenched tightly in her lap as the weight of their words sank in. It's real, she thought. Sophia's dream was real. She forwarded the voice recording to Sophia, her fingers trembling. Within moments, Sophia, Jesse, and Emmanuel listened to the clip. Jesse's face turned pale, and he jumped to his feet. Sophia, your dream wasn't just a dream. It's real. Everything you saw is happening. Sophia covered her mouth, her mind racing. We have to stop them, she whispered. Emmanuel clenched his fist. We need a plan, fast. Anita remained seated in the front row, her heart pounding, as she continued to listen to the teachers. She knew she had to stay calm, but the urgency of the situation made it almost unbearable. Every glance between the teachers, every whispered word, heightened her fear. Back at the canteen, Sophia, Jesse, and Emmanuel frantically brainstormed. We need to expose them, Jesse said firmly. If we can play this recording in front of the students, they will have no choice but to believe us. But how do we do that without getting caught? Emmanuel asked. Sophia looked toward the boss, determination lighting up her face. We'll figure it out. For now, Anita needs to stay close and keep an eye on them. As Anita continued to sit in the bus, pretending to be just another excited student, she couldn't help but feel the weight of responsibility on her shoulders. Time was running out, and the lives of her classmates depended on what they did next. The minutes dragged by as Anita stayed seated in the bus. She glanced nervously at the teachers. Suddenly, the door of the bus opened and Miss Chika's voice rang out. All right, everyone, we'll be leaving very soon, she announced with a smile. As she spoke, she noticed Emmanuel running towards the bus, looking winded. Emmanuel, where have you been? Miss Chika asked sharply, her voice faltering. I'm sorry, ma, Emmanuel said, doubling over as if out of breath. I was having a running stomach. That's why I wasted so much time. I'm sorry. Miss Chika's expression softened, and she waved him off with a smile. That's all right. Go and sit down. You'll be fine. Thank you, ma, Emmanuel replied quickly, making his way to the seat beside Anita. Hey, did you have to act so dramatic? Anita whispered as he sat down, trying to hide her nervous smile. Better safe than suspicious, Emmanuel muttered back. Meanwhile, Mr. Femi called out to Miss Chika from outside the bus. It's time. We have been waiting for so long. Miss Chika nodded and turned to face the student, clapping her hands for attention. Alright, everyone, it's time to leave. Make sure you are on your best behavior. No noise, no mischief. Let's have a safe and enjoyable trip. The students erupted in cheers, their excitement bursting out in laughter, clapping, and singing. Some stood up to take selfies with their friends, their voices echoing inside the bus as if nothing could ruin the day. Anita and Emmanuel exchanged wary glances, forcing themselves to smile and laugh alongside the group to avoid suspicion. "This isn't good," Emmanuel muttered under his breath. "Stay calm," Anita whispered. "Let's wait for the right moment." Outside, the driver climbed into his seat, turned the key in the ignition, and tried to start the bus. The engine sputtered weakly, but refused to come to life. He frowned and tried again, still nothing. "What's wrong?" Mr. Femi asked, his tone sharp. "I don't know," the driver replied, his brow furrowed. "Something is not right." Annoyed, the driver climbed down and cycled to the back of the bus to check the engine. That's when he saw it. The tires had completely deflated, sagging onto the ground. His eyes widened in disbelief. "Sir," the driver called out, waving to Mr. Femi and Miss Chika. "All the tires, they are flat." "What?" Miss Chika asked, walking towards the driver. Her face fell when she saw the state of the tires. "How did this happen?" The driver shook his head. "I don't know, ma. They were fine earlier." "Can you fix it?" Mr. Femi asked, trying to remain calm. "No, sir," the driver replied. "This will need a mechanic." Inside the bus, Anita and Emmanuel watched the unfolding chaos through the window. Anita discreetly pulled out her phone and began recording Miss Chika and Mr. Femi as they spoke with the driver. She captured their frustrated expressions, the tension building as they realized their plans were being delayed. Anita leaned closer to Emmanuel. "Forward this to Sophia and Jesse," she whispered. Emmanuel nodded and quickly sent the recording to their friends waiting at the canteen. Back at the canteen, Sophia and Jesse received the message and huddled over the phone to listen. "It's working," Jesse said, his voice laced with excitement. "The bus can't move. That gives us time." Sophia clenched her fist, her face set with determination. "This is our chance. We have to expose them before the mechanic arrives." "What do we do now?" Jesse asked. Sophia looked up, determination in her eyes. "We go to the students. We have to show them the recordings and tell them the truth before it's too late." Anita and Emmanuel sat quietly inside the bus, trying to blend in with the excited student. Laughter and chatter filled the air as selfies were taken, songs were sung, and everyone eagerly waited for the bus to start. The two of them exchanged nervous glances, knowing what was truly at stake. Meanwhile, back at the canteen, Sophia and Jesse huddled over the phone. Jesse adjusted his special eyeglasses, which were equipped with a hidden camera. "This is our only chance," Jesse whispered, handing the phone to Sophia. "Everything I see and record will show up here. Keep an eye on the screen, okay?" "I will," Sophia said, gripping the phone tightly. "Be careful, Jesse." Jesse nodded and slipped out of the canteen. He made his way towards the far end of the school wall, where he had a perfect line of sight to the teachers standing near the bus. Jesse crouched low, slipping behind a thick hedge of flowers. From there, he could see Miss Chika and Mr. Femi standing at the back of the bus, talking in hushed voices as they waited for the mechanic. He adjusted his glasses, focusing the camera on them, and whispered into his tiny microphone. "Sophia, are you getting this?" Back at the canteen, Sophia watched the live feed on the phone screen. "I see everything. You are doing great, Jesse." Jesse turned his attention back to the teachers, remaining perfectly still as he recorded their conversation. "This is no good at all," Mr. Femi muttered, glancing anxiously at the boss and the students inside. "Time is running out, and the men will be waiting already." Miss Chika frowned, her voice sharp with frustration. "Are you sure we shouldn't tell the principal to send another bus? This delay is risky, and the men aren't patient." "Another bus?" Mr. Femi shook his head angrily. "That would draw too much attention. We can't mess this up. 200 million naira is at stake here." Miss Chika sighed and looked over her shoulder towards the bus. "You are right. We can't miss this opportunity. Let's go talk to the principal and see if he will give us another bus quickly. The men are expecting all 30 students, and we have already waited too long." "Exactly," Mr. Femi agreed. "If we fail, they won't forgive us." Sophia's heart pounded as she listened to every word through the phone. Her face paled and her hands began to tremble. As soon as the two teachers walked off towards the school building, Jesse slipped out of his hiding place and ran towards the canteen. Sophia stood waiting anxiously, her eyes wide with fear. "Did you get it?" she asked as Jesse approached. Jesse pulled off his glasses and nodded. "It's all there. They admitted everything." Sophia replayed the video, her hands shaking as she heard Mr. Femi's and Miss Chika's voice. The teachers had clearly mentioned the men, the money, and the fact that the students were walking into a trap. "They are selling us out for money," Sophia whispered, horrified. "We have proof now," Jesse said firmly. "We can stop them." Inside the bus, Emmanuel and Anita sat near the front, watching as Miss Chika and Mr. Femi walked away. Anita glanced at Emmanuel and whispered, "They are going to talk to the principal. Something is wrong." Emmanuel shifted in his seat, pretending to relax. "What do you think we should do?" "Stay calm and wait for Sophia's signal," Anita replied, keeping her voice low. Emmanuel nodded and looked back at the noisy students. None of them had any idea of the danger that awaited them. Minutes later, Jesse and Sophia rushed back to the bus, staying hidden as they approached from the side. Emmanuel saw them through the window and nudged Anita. "They are back," he whispered. Miss Chika and Mr. Femi were still away, giving the group just enough time to regroup. Emmanuel quietly slipped out of the bus, motioning for Anita to follow him. When they reached Jesse and Sophia at the edge of the canteen, Anita immediately asked, "Did you get it?" Jesse nodded and showed them the video. As the recording played, the group watched in stunned silence. "They admitted everything," Sophia said, her voice trembling. "They are planning to hand us over for 200 million naira. Anita's face turned pale. "I can't believe this. They are monsters." "What do we do now?" Emmanuel asked. "The mechanic will fix the bus soon, and the teachers will be back any minute." Sophia clenched her fist, her expression resolute. "We need to stop this bus from leaving, and we need to show this video to the other students. They deserve to know the truth." "How do we show it without the teachers finding out?" Jesse asked. "We'll figure it out," Sophia replied, determination flashing in her eyes. "We don't have much time." The group huddled together, their minds racing to come up with a plan. They knew the teachers were moments away from returning, and the lives of 30 students depended on what they did next. The four friends, Sophia, Jesse, Anita, and Emmanuel, walked back to the bus, their hearts pounding as they prepared to confront the student. Sophia took a deep breath, clutching her phone tightly. "Are you sure about this?" Emmanuel whispered, looking nervous. "We have no choice," Sophia replied, her voice firm. "They need to know the truth. It's now or never." Jesse nodded. "I have already forwarded the video to the class group chat. As soon as they see it, they will understand." "Let's do this," Anita added, her eyes scanning the bus. Sophia stepped onto the bus, her voice loud and steady. "Everyone, please calm down. We have something very important to say." The chatter and laughter died down as the students turned to look at her. Confused, some murmured to one another, but they quieted when they saw the serious expressions on Sophia and her friends' faces. "Check your phones," Jesse said loudly. "Go to the class group chat right now. We have sent something you need to see." The students exchanged puzzled glances, but did as instructed. One by one, their eyes widened in shock as they watched the video of Mr. Femi and Miss Chika's conversation. "Wait, what?" one of the students shouted. "They are going to sell us?" another cried, jumping up from her seat. Chaos erupted as the students screamed in disbelief, rushing to get off the bus. Phones buzzed as some began forwarding the video to their parents. Within moments, a flood of calls and messages were being sent out. "This can't be true," one boy shouted. "It's all in the video," Emmanuel said firmly. "It's real." By the time Mr. Femi and Miss Chika returned from the principal's office, the students had already abandoned the bus. Parents, alerted by their children's frantic calls, had begun arriving at the school gate, demanding answers. "What is happening here?" Miss Chika shouted, her eyes darting around the crowd. Mr. Femi tried to maintain his composure. "Everyone calm down, get back on the bus now." But the crowd shouting only grew louder. Parents swarmed the area, demanding to know what was going on. The principal, accompanied by other teachers, hurried to the scene. "What's going on?" the principal asked, his voice rising above the commotion. Sophia stepped forward, her friends close behind her. "Everyone, please listen," she shouted, silencing the crowd. The students quieted, their parents glaring angrily at the two teachers. Sophia took a deep breath and began. "Mr. Femi and Miss Chika plan to sell all of us to some men for money. We have proof. We recorded their conversation, and you have all seen the video." "That's a lie," Mr. Femi roared, stepping forward. "Don't listen to her. She's just a child trying to cause trouble." "It's not a lie," Sophia said boldly, her voice steady. "You can see for yourself." She turned to the principal, pulling out her phone. "Sir, this video has everything you need to know." The principal took the phone, his face pale as he watched the video. The crowd waited in silence as the recording played. Mr. Femi and Miss Chika clearly discussing the deal, the money, and their plans to hand over the students. The principal looked up, his expression one of shock and betrayal. "Is this true?" he asked, his voice trembling. The parents erupted in outrage, their shouts echoing across the school premises. Some of them pushed towards Mr. Femi and Miss Chika, yelling angrily and demanding answers. "You were going to sell our children?" one father roared, grabbing Mr. Femi by the collar. "How could you do this?" a mother cried, tears streaming down her face. Mr. Femi stammered, his confidence crumbling. It's not what it looks like." Miss Chika fell to her knees, crying as the crowd closed in. "But we are forced to do it. Please, We didn't have a choice. Just then, the sound of sirens filled the air. Police cars pulled into the school compound and officers stepped out. Sophia turned to her friends. I called my parents earlier and asked them to inform the police. I knew we would need help. The officers quickly stepped in, separating the teachers from the angry parents. Under pressure, Mr. Femi and Miss Chika finally confessed. Yes, we are paid to bring the students, Mr. Femi admitted, his voice breaking. We didn't want to, but we are desperate. The officers handcuffed the two teachers and led them away, ignoring their cries for mercy. Take them to the station, the lead officer ordered. They will explain everything there. As the police cars drove off, the crowd erupted in relief cheers. Parents hugged their children tightly, thanking God for keeping them safe. Sophia, Jesse, Anita, and Emmanuel stood together, tears in their eyes as they hugged tightly. We did it, Anita whispered. We stopped them. Sophia nodded, looking up at the sky. Thank you, God. We are safe. Jesse grinned, wiping a tear from his face. Sophia, you are right all along. Your dream saved us. The principal approached, his face filled with gratitude and regret. Thank you. What you did was brave and selfless. I'm so sorry for what happened and for endangering your lives. I promise this school will do better. The parents, too, gathered around to thank the four friends for their courage and determination. Sophia smiled, hugging her parents tightly when they arrived. I'm just glad everyone is safe. The danger was over and the students were safe, though the events of the day would never be forgotten. The bravery of Sophia and her friends ensured that evil plans were stopped before it was too late. As the school compound slowly emptied and parents took their children home, Emmanuel walked up to Sophia, Anita, and Jesse. His hands were tucked into his pockets, but his face was lit with gratitude. Thank you, Sophia, Emmanuel said softly, his voice sincere. I don't know what would have happened if you hadn't stopped us from going on that bus. Sophia shook her head with a smile. You don't need to thank me. You should thank Anita. She was the one who convinced you to listen. Emmanuel turned to Anita. His smile widened. Well, I guess I do owe you one. Anita laughed, brushing her hair behind her ear. I told you it wasn't nonsense, didn't I? Yeah, you did, Emmanuel admitted, chuckling lightly. Then with a mischievous grin, he added, and don't forget your promise. Anita rolled her eyes playfully but smiled. I haven't forgotten, Emmanuel. You did good today. Jesse clapped Emmanuel on the back. You are one of us now, man. Welcome to the team. Emmanuel grinned, waving goodbye as he turned to leave. See you guys tomorrow. The three friends stood together, watching him walk away. Sophia let out a sigh of relief, her shoulder relaxing. We did it, she whispered. It's finally over. Yay, Jesse added, grinning, and it feels good. Let's go, Anita said, linking her arm with Sophia's as they walked towards the school gate. I just want to get home and sleep for a week. The three of them left the school that day feeling lighter than they had in weeks. They had saved their classmates, exposed the villains, and proven that even in the scariest dreams could lead to something good. The next few days were filled with joy and normalcy. The dark cloud that had loomed over the students lifted, and life at school returned to its regular rhythm. Sophia, Jesse, Anita, and Emmanuel became inseparable. The four of them spent their mornings studying for their final exams, and their afternoons laughing, sharing stories, and hanging out at each other's houses. Emmanuel now fully part of the group, blended in easily. Who knew you weren't such a bad guy after all? Jessie teased Emmanuel one afternoon as they walked out of class. I will take that as a compliment. Emmanuel shot back with a grin. Sophia watched the boys bicker lightheartedly and smiled. For the first time in a long while, everything felt peaceful. Soon, their final exams arrived. The four friends sat together in the exam hall, encouraging one another before each paper. You have got this, Anita whispered to Sophia before their last exam. We are almost there. Sophia smiled back. Let's finish strong. The exams flew by quickly, and by the last day, the entire school erupted in celebration. Students cheered, hugged, and took photos together, marking the end of an important chapter in their lives. We did it, Jesse said, throwing his hands in the air as they walked out of the school gate for the last time. I'm just glad it's over, Emmanuel added, slinging his bag over his shoulder. No more late night studying. Anita smiled, looking at her friends. Now, it's time to celebrate. Prom is coming up, and we're going to make it the best night ever. Sophia nodded in agreement. We have been through so much. We deserve to have fun. Over the next few days, the group started planning for prom. They visited stores together, helping one another pick out outfits. Annie, you are going to look like a queen, Sophia teased as Anita held up a sparkling dress. And Jessie will look like a confused waiter, Emmanuel joked, earning a playful punch on the arm from Jessie. Hey, at least I'll be the coolest waiter there, Jessie shot back, grinning. The laughter and the light-heartedness carried them through the days. After everything they had been through, the bond they shared had become unbreakable. As the day of the prom approached, the excitement was palpable. The four friends stood together at the heart of it all, happy, relieved, and ready to close the chapter on their high school lives. The evening sun dipped below the horizon, casting golden hues over the school premises. As students arrived, dressed in their finest, the air buzzed with excitement and laughter as friends gathered, taking pictures and admiring one another's glamorous outfits. Anita stood by the entrance, her stunning blue dress sparkling under the school light. She adjusted her hair nervously, scanning the crowd. Suddenly, Emmanuel appeared, looking sharp in a well-tailored suit and holding a beautiful bouquet of roses. Annie, he called softly as he approached. Anita turned, her face lighting up in surprise. Emmanuel. Without another word, Emmanuel got down on one knee, holding up the flowers. The surrounding students quieted down, watching the scene unfold with smiles and whispers. Annie, Emmanuel said, his voice steady but hopeful. Will you be my date tonight? And will you be my girlfriend? Anita gasped, her cheeks turning red as the crowd erupted in cheers and ow sounds. She smiled brightly and took the flowers from his hands. Yes, Emmanuel, she replied softly, nodding. I will. The students applauded as Emmanuel stood, taking her hand. Together, they walked into the decorated school hall, where Jessie and Sophia were waiting. You two are so cute, Sophia teased, clapping her hands. I knew it would happen, Jessie added, laughing. Congrats, guys. Anita and Emmanuel smiled, and the group walked further inside, ready for the evening of fun ahead. The hall was breathtaking, lit up with colorful lights, balloons, and shimmering decorations. Music played loudly as students danced, laughed, and enjoyed the final celebration of their school days. Sophia and Jessie danced together, spinning and laughing as they moved to the beat of the music. I can't believe we are finally here, Jessie said. I know, Sophia replied, smiling brightly. After everything we have been through, we deserve this. As the night progressed, one of the teachers, Mrs. Johnson, walked onto the stage and held up a microphone. All right, everyone, it's time to announce the prom king and queen. she called, and the crowd erupted in cheers. She pulled out a golden envelope, grinning as she opened it. And the prom king is Emmanuel! The crowd applauded as Emmanuel stepped onto the stage, a mixture of surprise and happiness on his face. And your prom queen is Anita! Anita gasped as her friends cheered loudly. Sophia and Jessie clapped and shouted, "Go, Anita!" Emmanuel and Anita were crowned with sparkling tiaras, and the crowd chanted their names. The two stepped to the center of the dance floor for their dance as king and queen. The music slowed, and they swayed together, smiling and whispering softly. "Thank you for saying yes," Emmanuel said quietly. Anita smiled. "Thank you for asking." After hours of dancing, laughter, and exchanging small gifts, the students began to leave. Friends hugged each other, promising to stay in touch. "Hey, let me drop you guys off," Emmanuel said to Anita, Jessie, and Sophia. Anita nodded eagerly. "Sure, I will take a ride with you, Anita," Jessie added. "Sophia, are you coming?" Sophia shook her head, smiling. "No, it's fine. I will manage on my own. My ride is on the way." "Are you sure?" Jessie asked, frowning. "Positive," Sophia replied. "I'll see you all tomorrow." Jessie, Anita, and Emmanuel waved as they walked off together. Moments later, a car pulled up in front of the school for Sophia. Sophia opened the back door and got into the car, leaning back with a sigh of contentment. "Good evening, sir," she said politely to the driver. The man said nothing, keeping his eyes on the road as he drove off. At first, Sophia thought nothing of it. The city lights passed by, and she replayed the beautiful evening in her mind. But then, the car suddenly veered off the main road and turned onto a narrow dark path. Sophia frowned, sitting up straight. "Excuse me, sir. I think you missed the turn. My house is back there." The driver remained silent, his hands steady on the wheel. Sophia's heart began to race. "Sir, I said you missed the turn." Still, there was no response. Panic surged through her as she realized something was terribly wrong. With trembling hands, she pulled out her phone and quickly typed a message in our group chat. "I'm in trouble. Car details, black Toyota, license number, ABC, 455 km. Please help." She forwarded the message to her parents as well and tried to make a call. But before she could dial, the driver reached back, snatched the phone from her hands and turned it off. "Hey!" Sophia cried, her voice shaky. "What are you doing?" The driver didn't respond. He only pressed harder on the accelerator, and the car sped deeper into the darkness. Sophia's breathing quickened. She stared out the window, her mind racing with thoughts of what to do next. "God, please help me," she whispered, fear gripping her tightly. Soon, she felt drowsy. Her eyelids grew heavy, and before she realized it, she drifted off to sleep. When Sophia woke up, the air was cold and the room around her was pitch black. She sat up quickly, her heart racing as her eyes adjusted to the faint light streaming through a broken window. "Where am I?" she thought in terror. She glanced around, her breathing uneven. Suddenly, she saw two shadowy figures stepped forward from the darkness. Her heart dropped. Standing there, holding guns and wearing sinister smiles, were Miss Chika and Mr. Femi. Sophia gasped, backing up against the wall. What's going on? How are you here?" Miss Chika chuckled, her voice low and chilling. "Oh, Sophia, do you think you could ruin our plans and get away with it? You made us go to prison," Mr. Femi snarled, pointing his gun at her. "You humiliated us, and now it's time for payback." Tears streamed down Sophia's face as she shook her head. Please don't hurt me. I didn't mean to." "You should have stayed out of it," Mr. Femi barked, his face twisted with rage. "Now you will pay the price." He put back the hammer of the gun and Sophia let out a blood-curdling scream. Bang! A wake-up call. Sophia's eyes shot open as she jerked upright, breathing heavily. The scream was still caught in her throat. Miss! Miss! The driver's voice pulled her back to reality. He was turned slightly in his seat, calling her softly. Sorry to wake you up, but we have arrived, he said calmly. Sophia blinked in confusion, looking around. The car was parked in front of her house, and the warm glow from the porch lights reassured her that she was safe. It was a dream, she whispered to herself, her heart still pounding. Are you alright? The driver asked, concern evident in his voice. Sophia quickly nodded, forcing a small smile. Yes, thank you. She grabbed her bag and stepped out of the car, still shaking but relieved to be home. Sophia rushed into the house, shutting the door behind her and leaning against it. Her mother appeared from the living room, frowning when she saw Sophia's pale face. Sophie, what's wrong? Selena asked, walking over to her. Sophia didn't respond right away. She hurried upstairs to her room, dropped to her knees by the bed and began praying. God, please protect me. Please keep me safe. I don't want anything bad to happen. Watch over me and my friends. Her parents soon joined her in her room, and Sophia tearfully narrated the terrifying dream she had in the car. I saw them, Mom. Mr. Femi and Miss Chika. They said they would come for me because I ruined their plans. I was so scared. Philip placed a hand on her shoulder, speaking gently. Sophie, listen to me. That was just a dream. It's not real. Mr. Femi and Miss Chika are in prison. They can't hurt you anymore. Selena nodded, hugging her daughter tightly. Your father is right. God has already protected you, and he will continue to do so. Don't be afraid. The family prayed together, asking for strength and continued protection. Slowly, Sophia began to feel calmer, reassured by her parents' words. Weeks passed, and life returned to normal. The day of the school graduation finally arrived, bringing joy and excitement for the students. The school hall was beautifully decorated, filled with proud parents, teachers, and graduates. Sophia stood alongside Jessie, Anita, and Emmanuel, all dressed in their beautiful gowns. You are going to win all the awards, Sophia, Anita teased, nudging her shoulder. Not all of them, Sophia replied with a laugh. As the ceremony began, the principal stepped forward to announce the winners of various awards. And the award for the best student of the year goes to Sophia Philip. The crowd erupted in applause as Sophia made her way to the stage, beaming with pride. One by one, she collected awards for excellence in academics, leadership, and service. Her parents, seated proudly in the audience, clapped with tears of joy in their eyes. After the ceremony, the four friends gathered outside the hall, their arms filled with certificates and gift bags. We made it, Jesse said, raising his hand for a high five. Not just made it, Anita added. We made history, Emmanuel grinned. From stopping kidnappers to acing our final exams. What a way to finish high school. Sophia smiled warmly at her friends, her heart full of gratitude. I couldn't have done this without all of you. We promised to look out for each other, and we did. Anita held out her hand. Let's promise again. No matter where life takes us, we'll always have each other's backs. 100%, Jesse said, placing his hand on hers. Forever, Emmanuel added, joining them. Forever, Sophia agreed, putting her hand on top. The four friends laughed as they hugged each other, capturing the moment in their hearts. For them, this was not just the end of school, but the beginning of a bond that would last forever. What do you think about Sophia's dream? Was it just a warning? Or will it mean something more in the future? Share your thoughts in the comment section below. Thank you so much for watching this amazing story about Sophia and her friends on African Stories by V. If you liked it and felt inspired with their journey, please show your support by clicking the like button, sharing with your friends, and leaving a comment below. To see more interesting stories and learn about different cultures, subscribe to African Stories by V and don't forget to ring the notification bell so you never miss a new story. Your support means a lot and helps us bring more stories to you. Until we meet again, stay connected, stay inspired, and keep smiling.